Guys, I was just confirming whether I'm audible and do you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, fine. All right. So, if you all remember, in the previous class, we have done few things. Okay. So, we started with, okay, let me make use of some different color. We started with the Python comment. So I told you, if you add a hashtag in front of these lines, basically you can gray out those lines and they don't get executed in the script. There are multiple reasons why someone does that. One reason is for identification, because let's say you are a network automation engineer, you are working there as your full-time developer. Now let's say you move out of that team and you are being pushed to do something else, or might be some senior role. Now all the scripts which you are leaving out in the previous team, now they would have a hard time to find it out what is being done in that script. So it's better we put the comment session each and everywhere, so that the next people can get used to it, or they can do some kind of changes, or some sorts of upgradation. Okay, so that is one reason. The second reason for comment is for yourself as well. Let's say you're running a very lengthy program, okay, something like this. You're testing out something, you don't want to like delete it, run this once again, you have to copy back something. So it's gonna create a lot of difficulty for you. I mean, taking out 2 3 lines, adding it back, might be in that time frame you just lose whatever was copied, right? It happens. Usually we sometimes copy it, but then in between we do some other job and that copy gets corrupt, and then we have to once again go and look into the source a lot of time, right? So the best option is you can just go to code. There's a simple option where you can comment it out. Now what happens is you can run the script, these things get ignored, or they totally is out of your script, as good as out of your script. Once you're done this testing, now you want to release it back, you will go back and you will just bring it back. That's the different uh, reasons why do we need comments in Python. Okay, and also we went with the Python print statement. Okay, the reason why we need print is, like, let's say I'm executing something. Let's say you have prepared some automation script and I'm the executor. So I must know, right, what is happening in the backend, what my script is basically interacting with, which device is it interacting with, what is happening once it's been started interacting with the device, whether it's able to fetch interface output, whether it's able to fetch CDP neighbor. Otherwise, how would I know what is happening? So we need a print statement. Print will just show you the output. Say for example, if I'm a Cisco guy, if I go to my Cisco boxes, I make use of show CDP neighbor and it's gonna give me the complete neighbor table. If I do show IP route, I'm gonna get the output. It's called as fetching the output. So we trigger the command show and then we fetch. Similar way, in the case of Python, it's a machine language. So the Python we are gonna code and then it will interact with the machine and we are gonna be fetching out the details from the device. So there is no human intervention anywhere, that I go to device, I'm gonna type something and then it's all automatic. So the script interact with the boxes, whatever we have mentioned over there, it's gonna give us the output. So how do we read the output on the terminal? It's very simple. It's just because we insert these print statement so that I can see what is the content of this. Over here I said I want to see the content of this, and then finally over here we are able to see the content of the execution. Okay, so print is from user point of view or executor point of view, to see what happened in the backend, whether his job went successfully or if his job was being held up for some reason. So we need some sorts of information to be executed to make sure that what I did is right or wrong. Okay, so it's just from user point of view. It doesn't have any dependency on any of the lines which is present in the script. Okay, so if you see the script, they are all meant to do something, whereas print are only such commands which is just as a interactive purpose, that it's gonna show the user that this is the content of this, and then at the end this is the content of this. So just from interactive point of view, so I'm gonna say that from interactive point of view. And then we also went with something called as Python variable, very important, because variable is something which is totally used in throughout the script. If you see here, we started up from here. This is variable, 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 variable. This is a variable, this is a variable. And if you see, they are holding up different types of Python data. So this is some dictionary, this is a string, this is once again set. It's not a dictionary, it's set, because you see the equivalent symbol. We don't make use of equivalent in dictionary. Dictionary will have this format. So today we are gonna see that all those things. Okay, you see here we are then storing up another content. Okay, it's again a string notation. Over here it's a string notation. Device type, so what is device type? Okay, so it's a string. So basically variable is a empty bowl, or I can say it's a container. Empty bowl or container, and we can store the data, and when we can push it to the machine, and the machine is gonna uh, fetch the data and put back in that variable, and that variable is what we are gonna print it, and we are gonna see the content of that variable. Variable could be anything. As I told you, you put any color. Let's give some example. If I put some color water of a, let's say, a red color water into the empty container bowl, the bowl will turn into red color, reddish color, right? If I put some yellow color, yellowish color, the empty bowl basically will adopt that yellowish color, right? So basically variable by itself doesn't have its own color or its own data type. It's something which, whichever we store, it's gonna adopt it. And we know that these are the data structure in Python. So these are all the data structures. Now why we need so many things? So let's say in the case of string, it's deal with single word or might be single character. Okay, whereas number is totally dealing with the numericals like 1, 2. It could be -1. It could be the decimal notation, right? So all been covered under numbers. Boolean is either true or false statement. You might have seen when you need some decision making, and basis on the decision making you want to write the next command. Let's say the task given to you is that if interface is gi0/0, if it is up, then don't do anything. Okay, that means come out of the script, come out of script. But if this interface is down, then do something. That is what you do. You are a network engineer, so you will basically want the command unshut to be pushed, and so that the interface comes up, right? So this needs some sorts of decision. Now I can place some Boolean concept. I can say that if this is up, with the help of Boolean, it turns to be true statement. Yes, it is up. That means just come out of it. Let's say if the Boolean turned out to be false, it said that this interface is down. So let's say this is something which has to be taken care in the next line. So we need some decision making based on true or false. Okay, so that is what Boolean is about. And all the rest of the others, list, tuple, set, dictionary, they are basically called as collections of data. Okay, that means The actual data are only string and numbers. The rest are just about collection of data and what is their nature, or what is their properties. Basically, each one of them have their own properties, or I can say what on what parameters do they work. Okay, or I can classify these last four in terms of different way of writing them, or different way of representing the data. Okay, once again, all of them, all these four depends on string and numbers. It's just a collection of string or collection of numbers that you are placing under list, tuple, set, dictionary, but it only depends on the nature. What kind of nature? That means, are they duplicate? Whether we can change the data once we have fed some data into this thing in the collection, can we change it? uh, what are the different parameters, the different notations of writing them? Because list, we know that we use list in this representation, whereas tuples we make use of the different notation, whereas set we make use of different notation. Okay, whereas dictionary has its own representation, the colon, the curly brackets, right? So depending upon the representation of string and numbers, we have these things classified. Okay, so basically this is nothing but these are called as collections, or I can say that arrays. I can say that list of multiple strings, list of multiple numbers. Okay, so basically what are the basic building blocks? It's string and numbers. The later part is just about the orientation, how you're gonna orient them and how you're gonna use it in your script, and each one has their own properties, which is what we will discuss today. What are the properties? Okay, all right, so we will start with string first, the simplest among all and most widely used among all. So string is that basic block which is used widely. Okay, so how do we write string? I told you, the way of writing string is either using double inverted commas, okay, or single inverted comma. But if you try to combine both of them, that is double inverted and second inverted comma, so that's a wrong concept. Okay, we cannot do that. It's either double inverted comma or single inverted comma or nothing else. So these are the two possibilities. Okay, now there are some scenarios where you want multiple strings to be written in line. Let's say something like this. This is automation batch. Yes, this is October batch. The timing we follow is 9 to 10 p.m. IST, and I welcome you all. Let's say this is a strings, and these have to be printed up in four different line. If you just place the double inverted comma or single inverted comma, what happens is this whole thing get printed up in one line itself, like this. I don't want that. I want the print to be happening in the four line. So what I do is I make use of three double inverted commas like this. Okay, now this is called as triple inverted comma scenarios. When you need 3 to 4 lines, basically when you are printing some banner on your Cisco box, or if you want to put some welcome message, you need 3-4 lines, right? You don't want the entire thing to be taken up in single line, so we make use of 3 inverted commas. Okay, fine. So I'll show you few use case of strings first. Let's go to PyCharm, and we have this thing. So this was what we discussing in the case of variable, the last class. I told you the way of writing the variable name, and we also had discussed about thumb rules. Okay, fine. So let's begin with some string. So let's say if I want to print something, this is automation batch. Okay, now this is one complete string. Don't count the words or don't count the characters. Just see how many inverted commas did we use here. We just made use of one inverted comma, and within one inverted comma you can just place one single word. That is also a string. If you take out the complete thing and just place one character, that is also a string. Or if you place the complete sentence, then that's also called as one string only. Okay, I told you when we have multiple strings, then we have to make use of the other Python data structure. So these are the list, tuple, set, dictionary. When you want to hold multiple data types, as of now, it's just one single line, and within one single line, you are defining the complete sentence, or might be some 4 5 words. So that is fine. This is a single string notation. Okay, and if I print this, so what I have to do is I have to click on this tab and right click over it, and I have to run this. So it says this is automation batch. Okay, and if you want to see what type is it following up, you can just add the keyword type, and it will show you the types here. Oh, sorry for my spelling. It's type. Okay, it's a string. If you want to see the length of the string, you can just type len, which represent length, and it says 24. Now that is nothing but you start from here. Okay, so 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19 20 21 22 23 24. So even the space gets counted up, so remember that. Okay, I'll do one thing. I'll try to uh yeah, so I think now it's visible, right? So there is an option to zoom this. um okay, so what you need to do is you need to go to settings. Over on the general, you will see something called as change font size with control plus mouse wheel. Okay, so this is the option you have to select, and that particular window is now resizable. I hope it's visible now. Okay, so this is 24 characters now, the together. Okay, even the blank space or the space gets counted up. Now let's say uh, okay, I will try something first, and then I'll tell you. So let's say you wanted to insert the same inverted comma somewhere in between of this sentence. Okay, if you just go with the double inverted comma, now what happens is this is considered as one block, and this totally comes out of it. If you still want to place them under the string, what you can do is you can put single inverted comma here. Okay, something like this, and you can also put a single inverted comma here, something like this. Okay, and if you print now, you see you can achieve what you want out of this. You just added up inverted comma. Let's say you had that, you wanted to have that in your output. You wanted something to be inserted there. Okay, now let's say what if they were all in a double inverted commas. If they are in a double inverted commas, now you see the later on part is separated out. If I run this, it says that I'm closing this, but I'm not taking care of this. I can go with single inverted comma, something like this. Sorry, single inverted comma like this. Okay. Now actually they are not a single string. See, what is happening is they are basically now two different things here. This is one block and this is one block. So how would I make use of double inverted comma, but the same time I can also execute it? Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'll make use of something called as backslash, or sorry, this is a forward slash. Okay, so when I have forward slash added up, and then on top of that forward slash, if I bring the double inverted comma, you see here the forward slash is just trying to avoid what was blocking in the previous scenario. If, let's say, if I take this thing, now this is a different block and this is a different block, we are making use of the forward slash so that we get the desired output that we need, and also we are making use of double inverted comma. I know we can make use of inverted comma, we can achieve this, but this thing you can look from other point of view also. Let's say when you were making some custom path, there were some time where something was getting overlapped with the Python's default thing. Let's say we were trying with C drive output, right? So there are some certain times when something start overlapping with something of native Python's language. So we can make use of this. So forward slash, what it does, it start ignoring the previous part of it. I mean the backside part of it. If I add like forward slash here, okay, it totally start ignoring the other part, and we can give a turn around to this if something is overlapping with Python's default thing. So this is like a turnaround. If you have in this case we do not need it, we can go with inverted, single inverted, double inverted, because we have option of two things there. But sometimes there is no option, you will totally get into error. If you just start going with this, it will give you error that this is not valid or this is something, right? So you have to ignore that part. So you can add the forward slash and it will start look like sorts of ignoring the next immediate character. So this is called as escape character. In Python we call this as escape character. Okay, how do we add two strings? So let's say I have some variable xyz 123. I call this as network automation. Okay. Uh, let's say I want to concatenate over here. Concatenate on this. Concatenation is nothing but adding of the two or three uh, strings. Okay. So I'm gonna print this is now to concatenate something I have to make use of the plus symbol, and then I'll say xy123. Now what happens is I'm trying to concatenate this data into my main statement and I'm gonna print it. So if I print this, we get the complete statement. So this is concatenation. Okay, and remember concatenation works on very same data type, that is the whole thing should be string. If you just make use of numbers now and if you try to concatenate, you will get an error that you cannot match two different data types. Number is a different data type and strings are different data type, so you cannot do that. If both are numbers, it is good. Okay, you can concatenate both of them. Okay, so this is actually represented as string, so I'll make it as number. So you see, we can concatenate two different I mean, we can only concatenate the same data type in Python. Two different type is gonna give us error. Okay, so this is concatenation, and this is the symbol to concatenate. It's nothing but summing some. You just sum two or three different strings or different numbers. We call it as okay. Now I will show you some indexing. In the case of indexing, which is very important. Okay. Uh, Now, what is indexing? Let's say I bring back something, network automation, and I wanna see what is the indexing of the first character. So I'll say XYZ123, and let's print the first index. And if I just run this, it's gonna print the first character. Okay. Uh, how do we cross check? There is one method to cross check. That is, if I type dot index and then I type 0. Now what should get triggered up? So basically, okay, sorry, I'll go with n. So what will get triggered up? Let's see. Okay, 1 second. Mm-mm. Okay, fine. So I think this is not taking up, but anyway, I'll tell you what is happening here. So in the case of indexing in Python or any languages, most of the time the languages will start with 0. Okay, so it is starting with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is the way we index it. Okay, so if we just make use of some pointer. Okay, so 0 represent to this, 1 represent to this, 2. So I just want to tell you that in Python or any most of the computer language, they start with 0. So never make a mistake of counting something from 1. It starts with 0. Okay, so if I just try with the 0, it will print the first one. Okay, I'll just gray this out so that it don't trigger an error. So I'll just comment it out. So this is how we print it. Okay, there is one more way where I can add index, and I can do it in a reverse way. I'll just check it out later why it didn't work. So basically I can make use of index and I can type 0. So basically it should pull the data from here. It should have printed, or I should have typed n so that it give me the index of 0. But anyway, I'll check it later. I'll talk about these things also. There are a lot of inbuilt functions that we can make use of inside the print statement. I'll go one after one. Okay, so this was just about indexing, and the main thing is this starts with 0, so don't confuse with that concept. Okay, so once we are done with indexing, how about replacing something, or how about okay, before going to do something, I'm gonna show you few inbuilt functions. Okay, that's nothing but let's say these are some string with me. I can convert them all into upper statement. If I just run this, so they are all printed in uppercase. If I just go with lowercase, they are all converted in lowercase. Okay, these are some inbuilt functions. We call them as inbuilt function. There are a lot many things. If you just do a dot symbol, they will show you indexing. Yeah, this is what I was talking about. So this indexing, there is one way of getting it. I'll do it later. I wanted to add index. Okay, so upper replace, I'm gonna show you. Okay, is upper. Now is upper is something which you can uh, let's say you want to convert into all upper, and you wanna say is upper. And if you print this, it's gonna say that true. Why is it showing as true? Because this has put this all in uppercase, and then you're just trying to see the boolean value. Okay, is upper or not. Similar way, let's say is all lower, and then you wanna check is lower or not. Okay, so these are the boolean values. We'll talk about boolean is yes or no. Okay, and we are going through this inbuilt thing. So we also have seen the encode option earlier in the telnet library, where we were decoding the things, right? So there are a lot of options here. I'm not sure how many of you have used all of them. Split lines we have used while we are converting from string to list. Okay, so there are two things, split and split lines. The difference is, in the split we can mention the delimiters. Okay, that's nothing but when I define split, within the bracket I can mention the delimiter is backslash n, or it's either hashed symbol, or is it uh, only n. So we have that leverage of defining our own delimiter. Whereas in the case of split line, it's just gonna see the complete string. Okay, let's say this is the first string and this is the second string. This is whole thing get considered into list. Now list 1, this get converted into list 2. So there is no option of setting any delimiter. If you know that your script is all because most of the time network scripts are in the same way, right? If I have show ip int brief, now this is whole thing which you want to be considered as one string. You don't want them to be split into multiple components. So there is no sense of using this thing. You're good with one single whole line, right? So most of the time this works good with in our cases. But yes, if you don't need split line, you can make use of split. Both are gonna do the same job, that is converting string into list. And you know that list is collection of data. You can add for loop and you can keep a looping iterations. Okay, all right, so we checked upper, we checked is upper, we checked indexing is something which I want to do it, but might be I'll do it later on. Okay, so this is where I wanted to, okay, let me run it as it is. Okay, one argument, so let's try giving it the whole thing auto. Okay, so okay, I think I got this. Basically, I'm not making it as a string. So let me try with the string notation. Okay, I want to see which is the indexing of this. I have to make use of string. That is the catch over here. Yeah, now it's working. So where is my n located? N is located at 0. I was trying to show the vice versa process. Okay, so if you remember in the indexing, we all know that the simplest option is to add this and see in which what is the indexing over there, right? So if I run this, we be knowing this. But what if to someone who doesn't know in which indexing level is this located at? So what you can do is you can make use of indexing. You can type n, because this is sometimes we are using in the script. If you remember, I said we will remove the first 4 line, but how would you count it? You are aware of the fact that we are gonna count it, even the space get counted up. But if you do not know that fact, you will basically miss something. So why do you wanna take a chance of missing? You can just type the character. Let's say you are typing space, okay, which is over here, and let's try to give it try. It's at 7. So your work is simpler now. You don't have to count, you don't have to make that mistake. Now it's gonna be done by this command. Okay. All right. So this again few more thing. We can go with something called as a replace. Let's say network automation. I want to replace automation with the network security automation. Okay, so now there is two arguments to be sent. Basically, what are you trying to change it? So let's say you're first gonna change automation into security automation. Okay, so with the help of this function we can easily get it done. So we can see it totally changed it. So this is about what are you gonna change, and this is the final output. I mean, not final output, with what character are you gonna change it. Okay, so this is the pre-existing one, this is the post-existing one, or something you wanna change it with. Okay, replace thing. Okay, so let me once check I have not missed anything, because string is very simplest option. We have covered lot many things today. In simple, if I want to show you, basically I can show you something like this. X y z equals to automation. Now this is a string. We print it up xyz, which is a variable. This is a variable empty container, and the container is containing the string, and if I run this we can print it. Okay, fine. So let's move into the numbers now. Number on the other side deals with all the numerical numbers. Okay, and we don't add this. Okay, so what are we starting with? Python numbers. Okay, and remember there are three types here. uh, the first one is called as integer, the second one is float, and then the imaginary number. We don't use this, but this is just for your understanding. Okay, so integers all the numbers like 1 2 3, the minus symbols, the all those things. Okay, whereas floats are the decimal ones, and these are some algebraic equations, like you might have seen x plus j plus y. We don't use it because Python is something which is used widely in big data or computer language, and along with all these things even in network automation. So we can ignore this, but this is just for your reference. So how do we write numbers? We will change the whole thing with numbers now. So this is how we write numbers. Okay, so if I print this, it's gonna print it, and if I want to see the type of this, so it's a float. Okay, all decimals. If you just change the decimals, I mean if you take out those things, decimal thing, now it get converted to integer. So numbers are divided into integer and float. The most of the time it's gonna be integer and float. Okay, what about if you add a minus symbol? So minus symbol is also counted as integer. If you add plus symbol, again a integer. Okay, so it's just when you have the decimals added up, now they get converted into float. Okay, now again time to check some functions here. You can go and try with the absolute option here. So when you add absolute, what happens is it's gonna take out the decimal. Okay, so if I run this, okay, sorry, absolute is gonna take the plus and minus. Okay, not the decimal. If I add let's say I have a minus symbol, and if I run this, so you see it has taken out the minus. If you go with plus symbol, it will take out the plus symbol. See, absolute is just a number without its whether it's minus or plus. Okay, so whatever we have the original data, it's gonna take out that plus and minus, and it's only gonna give us the absolute value of that variable, which is neither plus or minus. Okay, uh, regards to other functions, so if you just go and put a bracket here, so we see we have something called as power. As you are expecting, it's the same mathematical thing which we have done in the college time, like 2 to the power 3, 2 to the power 10, right? So we can get it going now. So let's say I don't need this now, because I'm gonna define my main number versus with which power I'm gonna multiply. Okay, so you know what is power, right? We usually make use of 2 to the power 2. Now what it stands for? It stands for 4. You might have also seen people writing something like this. Again, I'm not sure, you might have seen this. So which is again 4, which is nothing but 2 into 2, or 2 into 2. That is what it is doing. Okay, if I would have had 3 power 4, what does it mean? 3 into 3 into 3 into 3. That is the mathematical concept, right? So over here we have this Python can be used as a calculator also. So if I say 2 to the power 2, and if I just make use of the inbuilt power symbol, so it's gonna print 4. If I go with 3 into 4, it's gonna be 81. 3 into 3, 9. 9 into 3, 27. 27 into 3, 81. Okay, so you can use it as calculator also, and this is what you have to add up. Okay, now there is something called as max. Max is when it's gonna print what is maximum number in this defined task. So it's 4. If you want to print minimum, you can print that as well. Okay, max min. You might think about some script where you will get this kind of concepts and you want to print it up. There is something called as a round, which is gonna round off. Let's say 4.5. It's taken as 4. What if you make it 4.6? It's gonna take as 5. What if you go with 4.1? Again 4. What if you go with 4.8? 5. Okay, round, which is another function here. There are few more things in case of numbers. You can call the module called as math from math import. Okay, so we are trying to import this module called as math, and we can define some variables xyz equals to -5, and if we are printing the floor value, if I say 3.7 or something, okay, let me just take this out. Okay, so basically what floor does is it is chopping the decimal values. Okay, if I go with 1.6, 1, if I go with 6.6, so it's chopping out the decimal values. Okay, we can add that function in your script using the additional module called as from math. Math is one of Python's module. We don't use in networking, but at times there could be some scenario where you want to add some tuning to your output, and you can do by doing this. Okay, there are a lot many things you can add, square root. Okay, uh, you can just try out what other option does this math is offering you. Okay, set, slice, sorted, super, radians, all kind of algebraic mathematics, lot of things which you can do it. You might think of some tuning your existing script as well. So this is about the numbers, and yes, you can go and check. Okay, I have already shown you the types, right? If you wanna see the type of this, you can define the variable and you can call this, it's an integer. Okay, if you go with let's say minus 5 j, so it's a complex number. So imaginary numbers are called as complex number. Okay, integer, float and complex. So when you have this imaginary part. All right, now let's move to boolean. Boolean, as I told you, it's has true, sorry, true or false, can be used along with if statement or some kind of judgment. Okay, I'll give you few examples. So let's say print 10 is greater than 9, true. Print 10 is lower than 9. Okay, so this statement is false. The reason is because 10 is greater than 9. What does this say is 9 is greater than 10, which is not really possible. Okay, I'll just let you know, in the case of boolean, most of the time, or at least 90%, the conditions are always true. Okay, the boolean will always turn out to be true. There are certain time when boolean turns out to be false. So let's say okay, one second. When do you think the boolean would turn out to be false? When it's a empty string. Okay, you just define the string, I mean the quotation, but it's blank, then the boolean is gonna give you false. Let's say while you are having numbers, for all the numbers it's gonna be true from 1 to whatever number, only except 0. If you have 0, then this is gonna turn it to be false. Okay, and rest in the case of list, tuple, set, dictionary, they are always true. Okay, just except if they are empty. If one data is empty in the list, or if in a dictionary you have not defined, then they are gonna be empty. So that's why I said 90% the boolean will turn to be true. If you are making some judgmental statement in your script, make use of either one of them. You keep a blank string, so it turns to be false, because that is important. When I said I am gonna make use of some judgmental, so if it's giving me some output, so that means the boolean is always true, and I have defined some different task. If if there is empty thing, that means something is missing, and then I would go and trigger out my unshut command, right? So that is where boolean will help us. So let's write some statements here. So let's say x equals to 100, y equals to 200. If x is greater than y, print yes, otherwise print no. Okay, and if I run this, it says no. So basically, how did the conclusion happen? Because of this output. It's not visible to us, but that is what is happening in the case of boolean, because this turned out to be false statement. That is what I defined. If it is false statement, then print this. If it is true statement, then print this. So this is the judgmental statement, and the boolean data true and false is playing very important role to make a correct output, right? If otherwise both would have got triggered out. Let's fix this up. Let's say x is lower than y. Now the boolean turns to be true, and this should get triggered up. So we get this. So that is where we get the boolean statement. That is why I told you, if gi0 slash is down, then print so and so. If gi0 slash 0 is up, then print this. So basically that is a judgmental condition. Okay, basically you're writing if statement, if for error handling, and then the judgmental statement. When you define something like this, x equals to y. Now this is a all judgmental statement. We call them as a operators. Okay, we will come to that part as well. So under operators we have equals to and greater than. We have this notation. We got this notation. We got this notation. According to that, the whole main purpose is to get the boolean data true or false, and depending upon that boolean data, we are gonna print or we are gonna commit the changes there. All right, so boolean, let me see if I have something here. So I have told you all the different things when it is used. Okay, so let me show you when are all this to be turning out to be false. Okay, if I run this, so you don't see anything here. If I put boolean 0, okay, 1 second, I'll make a print statement. False. That is what I told you. If number is false, if number is 0, then it's always false. What about for 1? So it is true. What about a very lengthy number? It is always true. Okay, 1 above, 1 or 1 above is always true. If you need your judgmental or statement should be showing to be false, and basis on false you have some commitment in your script, then go with the 0. Okay, similar way in the case of string, if you have some string defined, it will be shown up as true. Okay, but for a missing string, it will show as a false. Okay, so that is a thumb rule of this one. And for list, tuple and all those things, it's always true, except you are defining, I mean if you have not defined something, if it is a blank thing. All right, so that's about boolean. Now uh, list, tuple, set, dictionary, I think we are already timed up. So do you think we should carry forward, or we should meet up in the next class? Okay, so you want to be taken up in the next class, right? All right, so fine then. We can wind up. Let me know if you guys have any doubt, and the rest we will take up in the next class. Okay, so we covered very simple thing in the whole class. So is there any doubt over here? Okay, fine. All right, guys. Uh, so let's wind up and let's meet up in the next class. And yeah, I'll pass on the documents. The PDF is already been placed in the web portal, so you can take it from there. Okay, fine. So let's catch up in the next class and have a nice weekend and enjoy your Friday. So thank you for joining.